What's up, y'all? It's Ori. I guess I gotta introduce myself to y'all because I be talking like y'all know me and y'all don't really know me. But to keep it short, I'm a psych major who's recently been obsessed with AI. I also make music, a lot of it really good. I made this channel because I'll be having a lot on my mind and I be wanting to talk. So this video has gone through many iterations. It's been in my drafts. I started a script back in 2023. At first I wanted it to be like an AI versus like man versus machine type thing. It came to like making beats and all that, and just like if it could really like replace, if there was a real threat behind AI replacing just arts and things of that nature. But fast forward to today, 2025, and there is obviously an imminent threat of AI replacing a lot of things, and it's now extending to music, which is making me want to actually now like further speak about what AI truly is capable of doing and what the threat actually is. So I know we've all noticed the significant exponential growth that AI has been showing us in the last few years, and not only that, we've also seen a significant increase in its funding for its creation. OpenAI just closed in a deal, like a $200 billion deal with the US fucking government, like with the military. Texas has been getting a ridiculous amount of funding. Texas has been getting a ridiculous amount of funding with data centers surrounding AI development. And with all of these new developments and with these pushes and breakthroughs and all the news regarding the development of AI, we get the questions of the safety and like the regulations behind the creation of this, because what is the end goal? Like that's the real question. But to answer the question of what is being threatened, it's the idea of AIs overthrowing humans. Like in the long term, the idea that AI will have this sense of autonomy, have the sense of just have its own ideas and thoughts and just take over us. But for it to be able to do that, it will have to be able to do what we do as humans on level, on par with us, or better, like superhuman, way past what we're capable of doing. Is this actually possible? First, let's really think about what is truly being threatened in the first place, and really, in a simple sense, it's our brains. A computer is much like a human brain. It stores data, it reacts to information given to it by its environment, and it can be modified to perform new tasks. One stark difference between a human brain and a computer, though, is the ability for us as humans to act independently of any outside stimuli. We don't need to be prompted to walk, we don't need to be prompted to think. We do these things whenever we want to. Like nobody has to say, think. Unless you're going to school where you are being prompted to think, but even then you have this, like there's this sense of free will. You don't have to go to school if you don't want to, you feel me? Like it's really that free will that we have that I feel like makes a huge difference between us and a computer. So with the current AIs, they can't do that. They need prompts, and even with given prompts, they don't always perform the task perfectly. They don't perform the task the best. They don't do it, they don't do it the best, and it still has a long way to go. However, though, AIs are going to learn. At the end of the day, they're always learning. Because much like our brains, they're trained. They're trained by stimuli, Our brains sort and organize feelings, memories, sensations. We link sounds with specific information received by our brains from the outside world. Like, think about the idea of nostalgia. The feeling of nostalgia operates with the idea that you have already experienced this idea or concept once before in the past, and seeing it now in the present invokes emotions or feelings that you felt when first experiencing it. Think about like a TV show. When you watch a TV show, like the first time you watch a TV show as a kid, and now you're grown up as an adult, and now you're seeing the show again in a different context, maybe in like a review, in a documentary talking about the show. These images will prompt feelings that you felt when you first you know, watched it. That's how our brains work. That's how nostalgia works, you know. And I believe this idea of being trained, this idea of being being presented information and then acting on it, you know, is something that we can train AIs to do. You know, we can train AIs to have free will. Like, the fact of the matter is, AI models are always learning. They are always learning. They're much like us humans. Like, it's much like us humans. Human evolution prompted us to develop into where we are now. We were not always able to create things that we were able to today, nor were we able to always think as critically or cognitively as we did before. A scientist in the 1700s would laugh at you if you were to mention the idea of Apple's FaceTime to them. I also believe, like, one big flaw with people doubting the true capabilities of AI is the idea that it's just numbers and it's just an algorithm, it's just code, and it's not anything really like significant. It's just numbers. And I think people don't understand the reality and how real math is and what it really means for the real world. You know, like, math wasn't just birthed out of thin air. Math was created to help to put to paper and visualize how we compute and draw certain conclusions. It was our way of visualizing the logistics of our brains. Like, numbers aren't some like abstract idea. Like, it defines a lot, you know, and mastering and being able to utilize numbers, I think that's also something that's been able to help us create as humans, and that's what's held us over other, you know, species, as like over animals. Like, you know, we have that level of consciousness, we can compute, we know, like, we just have that over them. But now we are creating something that can possibly potentially do what we've been able to do better than all other species combined, like way better than us. Like, I don't know if I'm necessarily conveying this idea properly, but to simplify it, AI is going to be able to do what made us human in the first place, and that's the idea of learning, exploring, and creating off of what we've learned. Like, that's how we've grown as humans. That's how we've made societies. That's how we've evolved. That's the whole idea of evolution, is learning, growing, understanding, okay, this doesn't work, let's throw that out and replace for something that's more efficient. That doesn't work, okay, let's throw that out and place for something more efficient. I know I'm talking very anecdotally, but this is my way of simplifying a very complex idea to help you guys understand what I'm really thinking, you know? So it's like, AI at its core is a learning, something that is based on learning. Like, us as humans, we are learners. Like, the best humans are learners. The creatives are learners. The innovators are learners. Like, us as humans we're learners. So it's like, I'm saying this all to say, like, literally, AI will be better than us at learning if we continue to teach it. Like, as long as we continue to teach AI, it will become better than us at something that we do better, something that's established our dominance as a human race. Like, it's our intelligence, literally our intelligence, and we are creating something that can possibly do that better than us. So I guess to answer, you know, will AI take over? Can it take over? Yes, if we truly allow it to. And my theory is that it will take over, because us as humans, again, we are forever in the pursuit of knowledge, forever in the pursuit of creating, forever in the pursuit of what's better, forever in the pursuit of being more efficient. And I believe the next level of efficiency will be to X humans out of everything completely. And I want to go back to a point I made earlier. It wasn't even really a point, but an observation I made, just like a description, just saying that how AIs are not perfect, right? Like, they are far, far from perfect. They still mess up, and they're not always able to solve, you know, some of the most complex problems, or some of the most complex equations. They're not always able to just operate even as better as the next human. But here's the thing, us as humans, we're also not perfect, you know? Like, we are not perfect. I get this is a machine that we are asking to be perfect, to do everything perfectly. But I feel like once the idea of consciousness comes into play, the idea of perfectness kind of goes away. Like, there's going to be errors, there's going to be slip-ups. They can possibly lie to us to, like, you know, to get a further, or to further, it's going to get to a point where it gets actually freaky, but we're treading on there, we're getting close to it, you know. In reality, not even one or two things can happen. Life is really not black or white. Sometimes it's gray, green, blue, red. But I feel like in my head I see two very possible outcomes. And one of them is AI, you know, truly taking over the world, you know. And another possible outcome is it could end up being nothing, or it may not even end up being malicious. And our whole fear behind AI is coming from our guilt, and as humans, knowing what we've done to things that are less sentient, less intelligent than us, and how we treat them. And maybe our fear is that we will be treated the same by these super intelligent beings that we may create ourselves in the near future. Let me know what y'all think about it. Let me know what y'all think about AI. Is it just some bullshit? Are you not even worried about AI? You know, I know there's realer shit to worry about, man. Like, there's fucking sex trafficking, motherfuckers getting kidnapped, women still getting kidnapped, sex trafficking, all these different things that are happening right before our eyes. You know, it's so many different things going on in the world, but I do think this is something that we can actually talk about, and discourse around this can be useful for the world in the future. You know, can definitely help us in the future. But yeah, let me know what y'all thoughts are.